What are they looking for? I'm sorry, Jenny, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. They are looking to, it's basically an access permit to conduct some sort of research, investigation, like soil borings, those type of things, in relation to the road work that's going to be done in the future in that area. It's similar to other MnDOT. We had it at Building and Grounds. MnDOT had a similar request. And this particular parcel is City of Virginia owned. So they're looking for that permission to access the property.
Okay, so in its relation to this construction that's moving forward.
Correct.
Thank you, Jenny. Councilor Johnson.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to make sure at the bottom of this one, it does say parcel location, City of Eveleth. So I want to make sure that if it's corrected or if you can explain why.
Jenny?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Yes, I did ask for that clarification, and I do have it in writing from the requester, and they have it named as that project for their purposes of the investigation, because it does include areas both within the City of Eveleth and the City of Virginia. I wanted to make that distinction in writing, and so I did request that in an email. But thank you for the question.
Thank you, Councilor Johnson. Thank you, Jenny. First, Councilor Friedlieb, and then over to Councilor Motley. Councilor Friedlieb.
So an archaeological center, their findings could in fact then provide information that would allow us to progress with this particular project or deter this project. Like that's what I'm interested in. Like, what if they uncovered Native American burial grounds? Or, I mean, what are they looking for to, what's their purpose? To assist us or to find something that we're unaware of?
Jenny?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Friedlieb. I don't know that it's to assist or deter. It's to follow federal regulations in determining if there is anything that would exist at that site. And if there is anything, then there's additional steps that would need to be taken.
And this is part of the process that the state is following with respect to this construction project, this road work.
So this is initiated by the state, not this agency?
The agency is hired to conduct this type of research.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Motley?
That was the same question I had. Thank you, Councilor Friedlieb.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? I'm sorry, looking for a motion? Am I way ahead of the 8 ball here? Okay, looking for a motion, please.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Friedlieb. Is there support?
Support.
By Councilor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Move to item 9, committee reports. Rather long committee reports to be disseminated today. Item 9.1 for the committee of the whole meeting that was held on November 7th of 2023. And we'll turn this portion of our council meeting over to our city administrator, Britt C. Bennis. Britt?
Thank you. On November 7th, we had our committee of the whole meeting where we had a discussion with George Eilertson from Northland Securities, first to talk about the Public Safety Center project and the financing. As you saw in item 8.4, we did approve the parameters resolution that we did review at the meeting. We also had a request from Stuart Beauregard from the Range Snowmobile and ATV Club for a letter of support for their IRRB grant they're pursuing for purchase of 2 buildings in White Lakes for the Ranger Snowmobile and ATV Club. It was moved and supported to send that letter.
Looking for a motion from the council. Moved by Councilor Johnson and supported by Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
Mr. Matt Reed, our engineer of record, was there to discuss the trail connection and extra work on Borgen Road that the city is looking to complete at the same time that MnDOT does the Borgen Road and Highway 53 intersection improvements. Therefore, it was moved and supported to approve MnDOT proceeding with their plans to include the trails and turn lanes at Borgen Road and Highway 53 intersection improvement project.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Motley. Is there support? By Councilor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to direct staff to review the methodology on the assessment policy regarding streets and avenues.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Beyondich and supported by Counselor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve submitting a letter of interest for funding for that aforementioned project, the Oregon Road and Highway 53 intersection improvement project as it relates to the trails in the city portion of the project, to the Active Transportation Grant Program and Safe Route to School Grant Programs.
Moved to approve by Counselor Freelieb and supported by Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion?
Mayor, if I may, I want to point out that I did already submit the letter of interest for an estimated request of $198,000 of the $250,000 project.
Run it one more time, please.
I submitted the letter of interest for $198,000 of the $250,000 project.
Thank you very much.
And we'll then be invited to either move forward to full application after that, either one or both, or we'll see what happens.
Okay, and you won't need action right now?
Not that this, just the letter of,
Just this letter? Okay, thank you. And it has been moved and supported. And we have voted on that? Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
it was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the contract with St. Louis County 2024 Street Striping Maintenance Program.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson, supported by Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the memorandum of understanding with the Friends of the Greenhouse for 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley to approve. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the draft amendment for the Iron Trail Motors naming rights agreement.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Beyondich.
Thank you. And can you explain or just clarify to the public on the need for doing that?
Because we have state bonding funds that went into the building, they will not allow us to enter into agreement that is longer than 15 years. So they required us to modify the agreement for that.
Okay, thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve staff to seek additional funding sources for the Rock Step LLC project to complete renovations at the Uptown Mall.
So moved.
Moved to approve by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to authorize staff to proceed with creation of a letter of understanding for earned sick and safe time language from the state of Minnesota with the city unions.
Moved to approve by Counselor Freelieb and supported by
Support.
Counselor Johnson. Further discussion? I think by implementing this, we have to do this by federal law,
State law.
but it could have an impact financially in the future. So thank you. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the TZD grant from October 1st, 2023 to September 30th, 2024.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley, supported by
Support.
Counselor Freely. Further discussion? Just for clarification, that TDZ is total zero deaths, and that's part of the grant project for enforcement of the DWI laws, et cetera, and safety concerns for vehicle traffic. So all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the resolution for the purchase of NeoWater FX 300 for the wastewater treatment plant.
So I'll move.
Move to approve by Counselor Freely. Is there support?
Support.
By Counselor Motley. Further discussion. Was there some previous discussion about people services, or there may be another chemical that might be cheaper coming down the pike than what we're paying for this particular Nicole? So they're doing the research on that, hopefully. Is that correct? Pam?
Yes, Mayor, that is correct. But that is, we'll still have to go through the state for approval.
Sure. Thank you for that. Okay, moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
I had a request to approve the annual adjustment for this CPI per the contract with People Service. That motion did fail. There was a subsequent motion to authorize the city attorney to reach out to People Services regarding the contract and to renegotiate the CPI for the remainder of the contract.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley. Is there support? Support by Counselor Freelieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none. All those in favor? I'm sorry?
Have the attorney negotiate.
No, we're
No, it was
No.
not approved at the council meeting, so we're not changing that.
not, no. So read it back to motion again, please.
Moved by Counselor Friedlieb, supported by Counselor Motley, to allow the city attorney to contact People's Service regarding the CPI and to request negotiating.
There you go. Thank you. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Freelieb?
And so we're anticipating this not interrupting services of any sort or anything. We'll just have this conversation and move forward from there. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Freelieb. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed? Motion carries.
We did have a resolution for change order number 1 from EnviroBait for the City of Virginia 2023 demolition house asbestos removal project in the Public Safety Center area in the amount of $19,900. And then there was a subsequent motion to authorize staff to reach out to the contractor regarding that change order and the cost of the change order. I have spoken to both Kraus Anderson and to IEA, which is the contractor that is above EnviroBait. And this really was a problem with Braun. Intertech missed it, not EnviroBait. EnviroBait responded to what Braun told him was there. Braun was the one who missed the house. And so Braun's invoice was waived. They did not charge us for that. We still have to remove the asbestos from the house before we can tear it down. So
And this is the amount that is necessary to do that?
that is the amount that is necessary because the entire house is wrapped in asbestos. All the siding is full of asbestos.
Okay, thank you. And this money that's being disseminated is coming out of the
Phase 1 of the,
Phase
which is the
one.
state money project.
They've won money on the project, so thank you. Counselor Freelieb?
Can I just ask what the fee was that was waived by Braun?
I can check. I don't know that, to tell you the truth. I haven't seen that invoice yet.
And so, well, so this has to be done.
It
And
has to
we're
be
in the
done.
process of doing it.
If we don't approve it today, they're going to leave and have to come back to a different, because
Remobilize.
remobilize again.
Okay, all right, then that's not worth it.
So that has been moved and supported. This has not been moved and supported.
We are down to this house and the one house that the person that is still living there till Thursday. Those are the last 2 properties left to be abated. So,
And I see that that house is still standing.
yes,
So, and they're working around that house.
They are.
And finishing up the demo except for that particular property. Counselor Biontich?
Thank you. So when I read the original that came to us at the Committee of the Whole, that change order from Kraus Anderson, between the entities, are they able to, it's for the asbestos removal for an additional home in the public safety area. That home was always there. It's not an addition. The house was there.
Braun did not have it on their inspection list.
So I still don't feel that as the city that we should be paying for that.
We still have to, we are still the owner of the property, so we are still responsible for the abatement before it gets torn down. Matter of fact, I mean, so if they leave, it'll still be standing until somebody takes the abatement, does the abatement.
I have an issue with these change orders on
I
something like this.
completely understand.
And that the project gets held up by something like this, so for another project to come forward, does the city of Virginia, are we liable? Do we have to go out and look at all the properties and make sure everything is listed and on the order? I mean, there's,
I can tell you that the way the state purchasing laws read, that it's, you award the bids based on lowest bid with those contractors that have the best reputations or best work you've worked with. Sometimes we have things that happen that we aren't going to work with them again because this is things that have happened to us. So it's just something to keep in mind. And I do want to point out, Carl Sanderson is not involved in this contract. This is between the city and IEA. It was not a Carl Sanderson change order. It was an IEA and Envirobate change order. So Carl Sanderson really has nothing to do with it. They're working on the next to us with the TNT construction and the demolition, but they don't have anything to do with the abatement. It's just us.
so should their name be in this paperwork? No. For the original, Kraus Anderson really shouldn't be in there. No. So the city hired them.
City and hired IEA as a contractor who hired Envirobate. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Beyondich. Councilor Freely.
Is the 19.9 within the contingency cushion that's budgeted typically with the project of this enormity?
Yeah, and we do actually have IRRB grants too for the demolitions too, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, and we don't do those grant reimbursements until the very end when all the costs are in. So thankfully, we haven't submitted.
I'll move to proceed.
Support.
Moved by Councilor Freely and supported by Councilor Johnson to adopt the resolution to change order number 1 from Envirobate for the City of Virginia 2023 demolition house asbestos removal project in the Public Safety Center area in the amount of $19,900. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Beyondich,
No.
Johnson,
Aye.
Caranzelli, Huffy,
Aye.
Motley,
Yes.
Friedlieb.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-1. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to approve the request for proposals for legal services for civil services for the City of Virginia.
Okay.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Motley. Is there support?
I'll support for discussion.
Support by Councilor Freely for further discussion. Further discussion, Councilor Freely.
I don't know what the extent of the expense is to put out an RFP, or whatever, or I just don't think it's an area in which we need to save money, to be honest with you, and I've been satisfied with the legal counsel that we've been provided over the years by Trenti Law Firm and Brian and Colleen in particular. So I won't be supporting that, but that doesn't mean that we can't move forward with that motion. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Freely. Okay, anybody else? Pam? Do we have a motion? Okay, it's been moved and supported to go out for legal fees. Okay, is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No. Roll call, please.
Aye.
No.
Yes.
No.
Motion passes 4-2. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to approve the travel request from Mason Isaacson to attend the commercial vehicle inspector class, which was held on November 8th through 9th, 2023 in Mendota Heights at a cost of $475.55.
So moved.
Move to approve by Councilor Johnson. Is there support? Support by Councilor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the purchase of a circulation desk from Demco Incorporated for the library in the amount of $15,567.83, with only a very small portion coming from city funds.
Thank you. Moved by Councilor Johnson. Is there support?
Support. For discussion.
I got two support, we'll go support by Counselor Beyondich, further discussion, Counselor Freely.
And so very little coming from city funds, meaning where is the bulk of it coming from?
A grant,
The grant?
Multiple grants.
multiple grants. Jody, our library director is faithfully here every meeting, and Jody, could you give us some clarification, please?
So part of it is coming from an OSHA grant. Let me look up, and then, so OSHA grant, we made a request to Friends for $3,500. Friends are working with the Virginia Foundation for $3,500, and so let me get the email.
The library funds that are needed is $3,897.43.
Yeah, it was like $4,800 for the OSHA grant. They didn't fund our full request, but almost 2/3.
So it was an ergonomic issue to
Yep,
some degree.
ergonomic issues, taking up less space.
Mobility?
Mobility for, if we have patrons with wheelchairs, we have no options at this point in time, so we will have a space that is open, that they can sit down, fill out library cards. If they have a chair and need to check out, they can sit there, and staff can work on both sides of it. So we have a standing one, a sitting one, and it's, yeah, so
Will it take the place of the, when you first walk in, the main circulation?
Yes.
Okay.
yes, that one, which I don't know how old it is, but I also know that it's really heavy. And we have done as much as we can ergonomically on the back side. It's just not feasible to put anything else in where we need to, and it's two different desks. So it's a L-shaped oak desk that is basically a desk for an office, and then a portion of a circulation desk that I think has probably been in the building for at least 50 years, if not longer.
When Mrs. Smart was there? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, maybe, I don't know. I have no documentation on how old this desk is, so
So will
maybe
that,
somewhere in the library.
will that desk be repurposed?
I hope so.
Very good,
So we
thank
will, once this is all taken care of, we will see if anybody in the city wants it, and if not, then we will see if any library in the system would like it. It took 8 people to move the desk, just so you know.
Very good, thank you. Thank you, Jody. It has been moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
It was moved and supported to approve the mayor and council to participate in the Twilight Holiday Parade, which is this Saturday, November 18th.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson and supported by Counselor Friedlieb. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries.
It was moved and supported to appoint Councilor Friedlieb to the Range Association of Municipalities and Schools.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Motley and supported by Counselor Beyondich. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thanks for volunteering to serve another term. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to appoint the mayor as the alternate to the Range Association of Municipalities and Schools Board.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson and supported by a lot of supports. Counselor Motley, is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
It was moved and supported to approve the memorandum of understanding with the state of Minnesota to officially designate the city's USAR team as Minnesota Task Force 2.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson, is there support? By Counselor Freelieb, is there any further discussion? This really gives us an opportunity for additional funding and grants as we participate in the urban rescue team. So it's a very distinguished type of service, a very specialized types of service. And the City of Virginia Fire EMS is one of 2 task forces in the state of Minnesota part of. So proud to have them on board. Moved and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
We did go into a recess closed session for contract negotiations with AFSCME. When we reconvened, it was moved and supported to appoint Counselor Motley and Beyondich to the AFSCME negotiating team.
So moved.
Moved by Counselor Johnson. Is there support? Support. By Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
No further items from that meeting.
We almost ran out of the alphabet there. So, okay, very good. All right, we'll move to item 10, Commission Liaison Reports. Is there any counselor that would like to give a Commission Liaison report this evening? Counselor Johnson.
Mayor, I have two. The first one is the Library Commission. The circulation is up for October, and I'll let Jody go into details. But the Library Commission did vote to request that and I'm going to read this, that they requested that I ask that we put the filling of the budgeted library position back on the Committee of the Whole agenda for next week, and I so move.
A moved by Counselor Johnson to place the library technology position back onto the Committee of the Whole agenda for further discussion. Is there support for that? Is there support?
Can you repeat that motion, please?
Pam, did you want to read what you got? That's not been supported yet.
Is he looking for support? Just a clarification on the motion made by Counselor Johnson.
Moved by Counselor Johnson to place the position of the library technology on the Committee of the Whole agenda for discussion.
Okay. Supported by Counselor Freely. Is there any further discussion? Counselor Johnson.
And the Library Commission is requesting that as an official action, as the Parks and Rec occasionally puts things on our agenda and that kind of stuff. So they ask that I make that a formal recommendation from our commission.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we vote on that? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Roll call, please.
Baronzelli. Huffy.
Yes.
Motley.
No.
Friedlieb.
Aye.
Beyondich.
No.
Johnson.
Aye.
42. Okay, thank you. And just to give my 2 cents, I don't have a problem, put it back on the agenda for further discussion, to review items that were not included in the budget. I don't have a problem talking about it once again, no matter what the subject matter is. But any changes we make is going to have an impact on the budget for 2024. So since we're going to be discussing this budget item in the future, this item can still stay on the agenda for us to consider. So it's moved forward only for that consideration. So here we go. Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, thank you. Councilor Johnson?
Thank you. And then I have a update from the Human Rights Commission. We did meet on Tuesday night last week. And the Human Rights Commission is looking for a logo to, when we are doing formal actions, we are in the process of working with the Minnesota North College on a Martin Luther King celebration in January. And so what we would like to do is create we want a logo for our purposes as we're moving forward. And we're asking the general public and artists that if you have any ideas, to submit them to humanrightscommission@virginiamin.us. Thank you,
Human
Mayor.
Rights Commission at virginiamin.us.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's our official city email address.
Okay, very good, thank you. Okay, any other commission liaison reports? Or Councilor Motley?
Just to backtrack to the library, how many employees do we have at our Virginia Public Library right now?
Jody, if you wouldn't mind, thank you.
Just a number, please, and then full-time, part-time, and casual, and then also.
All right, so we have 3 full-time librarians. That includes me. I have 2 full-time clerks. I have 2 part-time clerks. I have 2 casuals. I have 1 intern, and I have a maintenance person.
Okay, so 12 and then 13 with a, or no, 11 and then 13 with a maintenance, or no, excuse me, 11 and then 12 with a maintenance person.
And full-time equivalent is like 8.5, I think. I did the math. I have to.
Okay, and then Britt, what's our proposed budget for the library for 2024? Okay, I believe it's over $1 million. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Counselor Motley. Thank you, Jody. Okay, any other commission liaison reports to be disseminated this evening? Okay, we'll move to number 11, department head reports. Does any department head need to give a report? I'll start left to right. Britt, anything else to disseminate this evening?
Just a reminder, the parade's on Saturday, 5:15 PM. Chestnut Street will be blocked off for the parade. And then fireworks will be afterwards on Silver Lake at 6:15.
Thank you very much. Anything from our legal team? Nothing formal, Mayor. Thank you, Brian. Pam, anything else you want to disseminate to us?
Nothing at this time, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Finance Director Sherry Erickson and Human Resource Director, anything?
Nothing right now. Working on the budget.
Okay, and we hope to have a budget meeting coming up soon once you have, we're almost there, so. Okay, thank you. Jenny, anything from your department? None? Okay, thank you very much. Okay, any other department head reports to be disseminated? Jody Grabanowski, our library director. Jody?
So just a couple updates. So the carpet is done. We are mostly back and working, but we are having some technology issues, and hopefully we'll get them done in the next couple weeks. We had an amazing baby story time yesterday, 22 participants. The Friday before, we had 35 at Family Story Time, so Miss Stephanie is rocking it right now. And then we've also had some adult programming coming up. So this week we have tomorrow, after it's early out at 2:30, we have a maker lab, and they're using a coding spiral kits. They have things that they can make with it, so that's going to be downstairs. It's for all ages. It's kind of like a doodle pin. So it should be kind of cool to see what they come up with. That'll be fun to see. And then we have Family Story Time on Friday, the 17th. And if you need a break from being outside and before the parade starts, you can come see The Princess Bride. We will have that set up down in our event room. It's starting at 11 a.m. There will be some snacks. And then we are still doing our Tech Tuesdays, so we have one on the 21st and the 28th. So if you are a writer and you've picked up one of your writing sheets and you're doing and if you don't get 50,000 words done in November, that's okay. We are having our the writing wrap-up event on the 29th, and so bring in your writing sheets, and we're going to talk about what worked, what didn't work. We'll have a little prize that working with the national, because it is a national thing for the month of November. There are quite a few authors that take that month and publish their first book or try and get multiple books done. And just a reminder, because next week is Thanksgiving, so we are closed Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I think that is all for November. We will have lots more coming up in December as we kind of wrap up the year.
Thank you very much, Jody. Okay, any other department head reports? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to number 12, council reports. Does any city councilor have a report they'd like to give this evening? Seeing none, we'll move to item 12 and a half. I have a couple of things that I'd like to just disseminate to the general public before we adjourn for this evening. And I don't know if the other councilors have, and I think you all have had calls with respect to our homeless population and some of the challenges that we have as a city and the community with respect to try to address the homeless. I had a chance to meet with the police department. I reached out to John Swenson, Lieutenant John Swenson, and others. And Chief Nicola issued a memorandum to all of us. And this memorandum is available on how we handle, how the police department, EMS handles the homeless population moving forward. And there's a Minnesota statute that covers this regarding peace officers of the health of the officer's authority. And so that's under Minnesota statute number 253B.051. Once again, that's Minnesota statute 253B.051. which relates to emergency admission for those people who are in distress. And it explains the entire process and how we move forward. And we've utilized this statute on a number of occasions moving forward. So we just ask that you have some, patience. We know we're a compassionate community. we do what we can to help those who are in need and those who are suffering and those who are struggling to live a life. And so, try to balance that with how we can provide a healthy and safe environment for everybody in the community. And it's a challenge when the homeless population is on the rise, and in just about every community, even on the Iron Range. And so we are trying to deal with it compassionately and to ensure the safety, health and safety, not only the people that are homeless, but those who are in the communities that live and work here too. So if you have any questions, you can certainly get a copy of this. It's a well-written email submitted by our Assistant Chief Chad Nicola, and how we as a community, and as far as law enforcement, EMS, deal with this. So the fire department as well. So if there's a homeless out there and people have some calls and have some concerns, the police will check. They check on them on a regular basis when they're on the road to see if they're all right. We from time to time, as the EMS people are out and about, they also check on those that could be in distress, and to ensure that they have an environment. So they're allowed to live their life the way they choose to do so. We just have to ensure that we're watching out for their health and safety, and at the same time making sure that they're not a danger, a threat to the community. And we haven't had a significant issue with respect to that at all. So it's available. You're welcome to let our city clerk know. We'll provide you a copy of it. I think it's worthwhile reading. And you could reach our city clerk at 218-749-3579. That's 218-749-3579. Thank you. Councilor Friedlieb.
Yeah, I'd just like to add, I too was very impressed with the letter from Deputy Chief Nicola. His compassion and his empathy certainly shine through in that letter. But I also want to acknowledge the other letter that we received from Daniel Treisman, I think his name is, who's in the audience tonight, who owns and operates a local thrift store and has been providing, there are, I guess what I'm saying, there's private entities as well that are going out of their way to assist people in this community as well. And I know that there's properties in town that have been purchased to hopefully renovate on behalf of those types of individuals, to give them places to live and or places for them to have distribution points for things that they need. And I hope that we can find a way to assist and create pathways to allow those kinds of services to continue to be provided within the community. So thank you.
Yes, thank you, Councilor Freely. We have a very compassionate community, both residential people and people in the businesses and the churches, organizations, and volunteer organizations that certainly do help. So thank you for that. The next item I have is the City of Virginia Rental Registration and Inspection Ordinance. Just an FYI, that will be going into effect on January 1st of 2024. The purpose of the ordinance is to ensure that all rental units in the city are decent, safe, sanitary, and operated and maintained in a manner that avoids the creation of a nuisance to the neighborhood, an influence that fosters blight and deterioration, or creates a disincentive to neighborhood reinvestment and revitalization. The council finds that providing for the public health, safety, and welfare of its citizens occupying rental units requires a program that not only corrects substandard housing conditions and enforces a minimum habitability standard for rental units, but that also provides for the quiet enjoyment of the normal activities of life for occupants of rental properties and for the neighborhoods in which such rental properties are located. Compliance and enforcement of this code will begin on January 1st of 2024. If you currently rent or will be renting your property in 2024, please contact the Community Development Permitting and Planning Department at 218-748-7500. That's 218-748-7500. Or you can email rental code, all one word, lowercase, rental code at virginiamn.us for any additional information. And a sample copy of an inspection sheet, the applications, and the registration materials can also be found at our website, www.virginiamn.us/rental code. That is www.virginiamn.us/rental code. So your cooperation in registration, inspection, and licensing this process is greatly appreciated. So please do not hesitate to call if you have any questions. Once again, that number to permanent planning is 218-748-7500. Thank you. And then this is something that was sent out. I think it's from the Northern Foundation. It's more about the Canadian Board of Counties Economic Development Relief Program. The program provides grants up to $50,000 from the State of Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development, which is DEED, to businesses located within the county that borders Canada that were adversely affected by the closures of the Canadian border since 2020 or 21 and the Body Waters Canoe area. The Northern Lands Foundation has until June 30th, 2024 to deploy State of Minnesota funding to affected businesses. Funding and eligibility guidelines were established in law during the most recent legislative session. So this special grant opportunity is open now and closes at 5 p.m. on January 12th, 2024. So who can apply? Currently operating businesses located in Cook, Kittson, Couchiching, Lake, Roseau, and St. Louis County, or tribal nations of Bois Forte and Grand Portage or Fond du Lac, businesses located in St. Louis County that experienced at least a 10% reduction in gross receipts in 2021 compared to 2019 due to the closures of the BWCA and or Canadian border. Now, there's a separate program for businesses up on the border there. So this is all available. Grant awards are up to $50,000 are available on a first-come, first-served basis until funds are fully obligated, and grants do not require a match. So if you're interested in that, you can certainly contact the Northland Foundation. And the Northland Foundation is located at 202 West Superior Street, Suite 800 in Duluth. That's 202 West Superior Street, Suite 800 in Duluth, and their telephone number is 218-723-4040. That is 218-723-4040. So if you think you fit this criteria, you're welcome to apply, and please don't hesitate to contact the Northern Foundation. And finally, the City of Virginia and our City Administrator, Britt C. Bennett, had mentioned just before, the Festival of Trees events, November 15th through the 19th. There's an event going on tonight at the Elks Club. The Festival of Trees will be going on all throughout Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. There are a lot of events moving forward. There's a copy of the schedule for the Festival of Trees, and bring your family and enjoy all the activities. The Elks Club is sponsoring that over there on Fifth Avenue North. And so if you stop by there, and I'll be behind the bar, assisting as a volunteer, just like there's hundreds of volunteers with this project, but as part of the Elks program. And so if you come here and you see me and you heard that I was here, and I mentioned this at the city council meeting, I'll buy you a beverage of your choice. So stop by. The Festival of Trees is a great event, and the parade and the fireworks has always been a big hit. So, well, thanks for Revive Virginia and all those volunteers who have put this together. If you go down the Elks Club and take a look, it's impressive. So come down and enjoy the festivities. This is a great time to enjoy the holiday season coming forward. So thank you, everybody. Is there anything else anybody has before we adjourn for the next meeting? So when is the next meeting? Thank you very much. I threw my sheet of garbage. Okay, we'll adjourn to our next meeting, which is November 28th at 5:30 p.m. in the City Council chambers. We do have a public hearing, I think, at 5 p.m. on that day as well. So for the council, 5 p.m. For the public hearing on an appeal, and then 5:30 the regular council meeting on the 28th. Everybody have a safe and enjoyable Thanksgiving season, and we'll see you on the 28th. We stand adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Good night.